Thanks for joining us tonight for a Dreamtime Transmission. Hopefully, these dreams help you drift into sleep easily. I would greatly appreciate it if you liked and subscribed before you drift off. New videos are released every night, so join us tomorrow if you like. Thank you, and good night. From Fee Certain 8127, little background. Forgive me for the graphic content and the bizarre twists and turns. iTunes M and my wife 23F have had a rough sex life for a while where she's no longer interested in the activity. One night I had the most vivid dream where me and my wife were in bed sleeping next to someone I don't know. Well, me and my wife were messing around and she was the one who initiated the sexual activity part, which shocked me. So we went into another room and had groundbreaking sex, and we both were loving it. In the dream, I was loving how much she was enjoying it and loving me through it all. Then out of nowhere, she grew a penis. I got extremely excited and said in dream, "Finally, I have been waiting for you to have one of these," and began to suck it, but struggle with gagging while sucking it. I'm not gay nor bi, so not sure why a penis was there, but I absolutely loved it in dream. Not the first dream I've had where she had one. I questioned in dream if I was dreaming because how unnatural this situation was, but I couldn't deny how real everything felt, legit everything. After she was done, I turned my back and she was gone, so I finished. And then I walked out of the bathroom and looked out the window to see my dog in danger with dog-sized ravens, looking to devour him. So I ran to save him, and I awakened from an extremely loud raven call. I awaken and think, holy shit, that was the most vivid dream I've ever had. So vivid, here I am, in need of some form of answer from y'all. Thank you.
From Braz's 28 dream was about me and a couple of farm animals. First, I was messing with the goats and playing with them. Then someone says, be careful of the pig. After a couple of minutes, I think I tripped, and this pig ran straight to me, attacked me while I went into the fetal position, and pushed me a couple of feet. After that, I get up, smile at the pig, and say, I would have done the same thing, pat her on the head, and laugh. Finally, everyone laughed and smiled as well, because they knew it was coming.
From Black Cat's Oms. A few years ago, I had a dream that grocery stores sold dead aliens to eat, the whole body. My family bought one and put the body in the fridge to cook later, but put its brain on the table for some reason. I was eating something else at the time and felt grossed out looking at it while eating. It was a very detailed brain with blue veins. Then I woke up.
From Ranch Cheez-It. It goes like this. I'm at a school doing an essay about a book. The essay is about a group of underwater friends, as the book called them. All the important characters had profiles. The main character is Fish Curd, otherwise known as Fire Curd, that's his nickname. He's ambitious and cheery, and he kind of looked like a circular popcorn kernel with a childishly drawn smiley face on it. His love interest had no name written for her profile, and she looked like a poorly drawn anime character. Painfully bright blue color palette, stretched out eyes, and an unnaturally skinny body. Her profile page was very stretched out as well, and the image plus text were placed incorrectly, very to the side. I think someone else's profile called her Aqua. There was several other characters, but I skipped past all of them to get to the one I was told to write about. Patat. He was a potato. That was literally it. No other information, and his appearance was a low poly, yet oddly realistic, 3D render of a potato that I swear was staring at me. I went, I don't want to write about him, and turned around to face what I think was my teacher, Hatsune Miku wearing red boxing gloves. I don't even know anymore. She stared at me, turned into a snail person, like the kind in Junji Ito's Uzumaki, and left. I went back to reading the book. It was now a plot summary. All I remember about the plot summary is that it said the characters lived in Clamville, USA, but every time I blinked, turned the page, etc., it would change names. Clamville, Clamtown, Clam City. I threw the book down in frustration. Then I woke up. I think the most confusing part of this dream for me was the snail person part, because I read Uzumaki, like, 2 years ago. I haven't touched it since. Dreams are wild.
From TRT62I is dead. Probably better off posting this in Arsh BPD or something, but I so often fall in and out of sleep and there for dreams. I have different dreams, obviously, but the ones that I'm talking about in these cases worry me. I tend to have way too real dreams, and not just in the normal way, but in a way that I will mention things from my dreams to a person fully thinking it happened. Like, I've had friends accuse me of trying to gaslight them because of how blurred reality gets for me. I'll have like a dream with conversations and daily routine, and then the next day a lot of the dream will really happen. So when I mention something that didn't really happen, I sound absolutely insane because I genuinely believe this shit is real. Help, lol.
From moonlit dusk, I am a practicing witch and often have reoccurring dreams. The symbol of wasp is a huge thing that comes up in a lot of my reoccurring dreams. Here are two I remember super clearly, if you have any ideas. The shed. I had this dream years ago, but remember it exactly as it was. It was in my childhood neighborhood. We used to live in the mountains of Colorado. I would bike everywhere all the time. In this dream, I am biking down that same road my house was near. I remember it exactly. It was just the same in the dream. The sun has gone down with a full moon shining through the trees. There's this crisp, cool summer night air. I'm biking along and something's different. I see a shed built under a willow tree that wasn't there before and weren't there in real life. So I pull over and drop my bike on the side of the street and walk over to the shed. This shed was old, it was creaky and rotted. One side of the shed tilted from water damage. I poke a finger in and look into the shed. The door creaks loudly. It looks dark, but the light of the moon shows the inside. It's empty, a few cobwebs here and there. So I open the door more and step into the shed. I take a few more steps in only to hear the door slam behind me and a low buzzing noise rise to a ringing. Then the room fills with wasps, everywhere I look. I am now freaking out and I crawl into a ball. I wake when the panic grows. The deck. This dream I had maybe 6 months ago. We had a deck on my childhood home. It was beautiful. The paint was peeling off though. Here in this dream, I wake up in my childhood bed and step out into the kitchen. But outside, I hear lots of buzzing noises. I chose to ignore it and go to make myself some food. I finish my food and get fed up with the sound. I go to investigate. I open the door to the deck and see the overhang covered in hornet's nest and bee and wasp's nests. I go back inside in a hurry. The rest of the dream is just me living in that house but avoiding the deck, avoiding the door to it or the stairs up. My interpretation, I was recently diagnosed with complex PTSD this past year. This came from an abusive and very neglectful childhood. I have never liked wasps. I think the wasps and the connection of my childhood places has to have something to do with it. I really would appreciate an outside perspective. From Apprehensive Ad 5296, this has happened to me about 4 times where someone in my dream tells me not to wake up and not to go to school. I've missed school from this because I stay in a sleep state and pretty much follow what they say. It's scary and it's affecting my life. Does anyone know what could be causing this?
From Silly Preference 4768. Last night, I dreamt I was taking a walk. I saw a friend of my mom, and she said that my grandfather passed away. In reality, he's still alive, which was news to me. I immediately went to the wake. People were in one room, and my grandfather was in the next room. As I was standing there, I saw him move. It looked like he was just sleeping. I went back to inform my parents, but no one believed me. Eventually, he woke up, and my mother went to him. He was shocked to find himself there, but he was more shocked to find out he couldn't speak. Afterwards, I woke up. Can anyone help me interpret this dream, please?
From Expensive Gascore Score 7953. I have never really paid much attention to my dreams. Maybe like 1 or 2 a month, but not much. That was until this past Friday night. My dreams were very similar to stuff I was thinking about that day. One example was that I was thinking through the day that this weekend I planned on watching a Lord of the Rings movie. Then, in my dream, I wanted to watch a Lord of the Rings movie. There were other examples, but they aren't crucial to the question. Part of the dream I was in like a futuristic building, and I needed to go and see someone. Then I started to enter a room, and it was pitch black. Then my eyes adjusted, and it was a room full of desks and some people minding their own business. Then I walk over to this friend I know. I don't know why I'm there, but I'm pretty sure it was to help with something. Maybe? Then that friend was holding a baby. I don't remember what I said, but I just remember talking to her. Then I woke up. For the rest of that day, I could not get that dream out of my head. It slowly went away, but then yesterday, and today, it's just been back on the mind. I couldn't find any other info, so thought this might be helpful. Also, I don't know if this means I like her. People I know have asked, and I confidently said I don't, in that way. As time progressed, I think maybe I do a little, but it was a thought very deep in my mind, and just didn't realize it. But yeah, any help would be great. I don't know if this makes sense, but I think I do like her, maybe, and almost want that to be the meaning of the dream. But whatever it means I don't know if this means anything. But I have since started writing down my dreams after I wake up. At first, I can't remember much, but I now been able to remember them a lot better, mostly just to see if there is anything else that connects to this dream.
From Itchy Drummer 1324. I keep dreaming that I'm breaking into an old building that used to be a strange kids multiplex compound where there are rides, video games, themed and hidden pathways, indoor carousels, anything that could be considered an awesome indoor amusement park for kids. And I know the location in real life, but it's obviously not what it is in my dream. But I'm always jonesing to take my friends and break in at night and throw down by ourselves at this place all night. I'm a 45-year-old woman. What the hell does this even mean? It's reoccurring.
From Boba Blush, I'm sure a lot of other people have frequent dreams where they're chased by horrible things nonstop, but I've never been able to make myself give up and get caught by whatever was chasing me. Has anyone ever tried this and succeeded? If so, what happened?
From Ontariosum, I had a dream. My dad kicked me out about a year ago, and he actually did kick me out a few weeks later, despite telling me he would never. I'm back with him as he's my only option, and now I've been having dreams almost every night that he will kick me out and have no remorse, even after me begging him not to. It's not like this is something I think of or fear in my daily life or before bed, and I'm really starting to worry. Though he's very open about the fact that if I screw up, like skipping school or letting my grades slip, then he will get rid of me without second thought. But right now, we're on good terms. Does anyone know what this means? Am I about to be kicked out again? I'm only 16. I have nowhere else to go. And I've actually started to get scared enough that I'm looking into Job Corps so I can have a place to go before or when he kicks me out, in case that happens. From Delicious Variety 384, sometimes it's pain of falling or a feeling of meggoing inside quicks, and one thing that's common in these is I'm not fully asleep, but I'm not thinking of the scenarios myself. For example, last night I was trying to go to sleep. I knew I was awake, but I started to think of a dream scenario where my friend dropped his phones. So I went to pick it up and my left foot got stuck in mud, and I felt it, then I opened my eyes and still felt my foot sinking for like 20 seconds. The first time this happened was when I fell off a building. I opened my eyes and I still was falling. At least it felt like it. What is this?
From Smoke Now, Cry Later last night, I woke up in front of a big house with a friend. It was revealed that it was my English teacher's family's house. Next to the house was a huge letter K that was blue and had lights on it, standing for my English's teacher maiden last name. We knocked on the door, and she came out wondering why we were here. We gave her gift cards, and she was super happy about. Another lady came out and gave me a Buffalo Wild Wings gift card. Later in the dream, there was a possessed motorcycle. It ran at a shovel next to the house, and my English teacher came out again, and we explained what happened. I told her about the dream, and she responds, "My husband loves motorcycles, and we always go to Buffalo Wild Wings." Are there a specific type of dream this is called? I've had multiple precognitive dreams as well before.
From That Bomb Shit. My most vivid one started out walking towards the side of a building on a street corner that looked like a grocery store. On that side, concrete steps brought you down to a basement level of the building with a small store door. Inside, it was an aquarium where you could buy exotic fish as pets. Not only were they exotic, but some of them were absolutely massive. The tanks containing them needed to be behind glass walls that went from floor to ceiling. And you just basically walked around like a prospective shopper would.
From Airplane 107. Last night the dream happened again. This time, however, instead of just being pieces of my SO, it was my parents and in-laws. Even worse is the black figure was back. This time, however, it had an eye that looked almost like it was scribbles. The eye was the only thing visible on the thing's face. I'm honestly terrified that after today it will get worse. From Dudes. Hey, so I had a dream about a post-apocalyptic family who lived in a fallen city. They were human, but they didn't act like it. They had a very weird culture, like always fighting like animals and climbing ceilings. There wasn't a lot that I specifically remembered, but one scene. It was the brother and sister of the family fighting over a cake, yelling over who should cut it, screaming and hissing. Then the brother finally does, and he takes out the grossest knife I've ever seen. It is caked with dirt and dripping with black sludge. You could watch how the knife cut into the cake, and the sludge was dripping everywhere. Once it was cut in halves, all I can remember was one talking to a character I forgot. The scene is blurry, but I think the brother said he poisoned the cake. I was just wondering, what could this mean? Mind you, I take no risks, do nothing crazy, but I usually have very weird dreams and want the public's opinion. Also mind, this was a while ago now.
From Lacy Velvet. So for some reason, I just kind of had a theme of dreams where I was kidnapped in one way or another. But this is one of the two. I remember that the kidnapper was supposed to be forcing a familial role. But this one was more like genuine force, as opposed to the other one being closer to me being unwillingly adopted. I don't really understand what the lore was in that one, lol. What I remember of this one was that me and some sibling figure, a sister I think, I don't have one IRL, I have a brother. We were close though in the dream. The kidnapper brought us to his home, and I think in the dream we were there for like months, maybe even years. And he never let us out, and had strict rules, like really strict. And I remember we were locked in our rooms at night and whatnot. And I kept trying to plan to escape, while I think my sister wanted to just avoid getting into any trouble. He was trying to make us see him as some sort of father figure for some reason. Another similarity with the other dream, actually. And I think over time we somewhat did, but at the same time, just sort of didn't. And I remember he gave us privileges slowly if we were good, and I somehow managed to use a phone to figure out where we were, except the only info I could find, despite being basically the dream equivalent of Google Maps. IIRC, the house image was weirdly hyper-realistic, but I think I got curious and searched the number it had IRL, and yeah, it's not based on something IRL a fake. It was really vague. Still better than nothing. Then he brought us to a store with him, Walmart or Rouse's or something like that, and we stumbled upon our actual family and could talk when he wasn't nearby. And I think I tried to give them the house location, and they were really sad, but happy we were relatively okay, albeit, kidnapped. And my dream implied abused, but better than we could have been. I don't remember much after that, but I think he got mad at me or something, because I think they managed to find the neighborhood, and I think he realized that I had to do with that. I don't recall how it ended, or if it even did. Sadly. Not sure if it means anything, especially considering the extremely common theme of kidnapping, semi-common theme of trying to escape something to the middle of nowhere, and theme I had twice in a short span of time where a masked character kidnapped me and at least one other person and tried to make me see them as a father figure. But it's interesting and one of my favorite dreams.
From Subject Legitimate 879. I know how insignificant this might seem, but I had a dream a while back of standing in front of my bathroom mirror. Then all of my teeth fell out, and I know what that may mean. Then new, sharp, shark-like teeth grew in their place, blood rolling down my chin, and then I woke up. I've wanted to figure out the meaning for a while now, but all of the dream website meanings don't match up.
From Captain Diabetes. My schizophrenia medication causes me to have very vivid dreams. I normally wake up and go over them and what they could mean, but then I just let them be. But I'd be interested to see what you all have to say. The first one was a long time ago, maybe over a year. I was on monkey bars with a lot of other people going one way. They were appearing to be infinite in distance. I don't believe my arms were getting sore. But after noticing that it went on forever, I instantly felt like I no longer wanted to do it anymore. A voice rang out and simply told me I didn't have to, that I could stop whenever I wanted to. So I let go. I dropped to the ground and stepped on the path a few feet away, and began walking the opposite direction of the way the bars were headed. Eventually I got to an all-white room. Not really a room, as there weren't walls, just white infinitely. A couch and a TV were all that were there, and a man with a glowing orb for a head and a white robe for a body. I never really looked at his face, almost like I couldn't. He had me sit, and the TV had a bunch of games mixed together, random elements from one game pulled into another. I don't recall any specific details as it's been so long, but I woke up shortly after. The second one is one I only interpret to be about God. It could very well not be at all. I was riding around a neighborhood on a ripstick, doing tricks to impress this girl, and she kept making flirtatious gestures at me. I kept making them back, acting like I was going to pursue her after I was done riding my ripstick. But then a more attractive girl came out from her house, and I immediately turned my attention to her, as if I was instead going to pursue her. Meanwhile, there was a presence of a third girl, but only in thought. After I had finished riding my ripstick, both girls had abandoned me, and the third one had not showed up in any way at all. I walked down the street, and a friend I had made in a dream I had before was sitting on the edge of his garage. He invited me to smoke with him out of his bong, and I felt a very safe and accepted bond in the familiar face after everything else not working out. I woke up and connected the first girl to being atheist, the second girl to my belief that I was God myself, as I had a phase where I felt that way, and the girl who never showed up was the god Eros, as I at one point believed Eros was the one true God. And I connected the friend from another dream to be the real God, possibly the Christian God. The third and final dream was just a few nights ago. I was in a bathroom. I had something that looked like an elf on my shoulder, and it kept making sexual passes at me. I kept telling it I wasn't going to have sex with it, but it wouldn't stop. At one point, it shit in my hand, and then went back to its sexual remarks. I finally had enough and pressed a cross up to it, and it started melting. I then looked in the mirror, and in my dream, my mind described myself as having resembled what I would think I would look like as Jesus. A bright glow behind me, and in my eyes are the only features I recall, but my brain logged it as I just stated. I then was transported to a room that resembled a typical doctor's waiting room, but it had a serene and peaceful air. It was bright and cheery. I started to go over things that happened in my life. I'd end the stories by saying that they wouldn't have been possible without God, and then I'd cry profusely. I went through maybe 4 to 6 different stories before I woke up. It was almost enough to make me believe in God.
From Airplane 107. The dream starts out as black. I woke up in a pool of blood, but for some reason I am unscathed. I see my parts of my SO in a corner of sorts, and a tall, black and slender figure standing about 10 yards away from me. Any advice or question is much appreciated. If any more of these happen, I will post here again.
From that one goon. I'm a 20-year-old male who graduated high school almost 2 years ago. I went to a private school starting in preschool and left before my senior because they were trying to make me take classes I didn't need to take, and my classmates, very small school grades had 30 to 40 kids in each grade, were generally shitty, self-righteous, and very fake. I never regretted that decision even a little bit. But the only recurring dream I've ever had takes place in my high school. It's never the same situation or the same exact things happening in every dream, but it's usually just me interacting with the people I knew there, classmates, teachers, coaches, and staff. Does anyone have any guesses or ideas of what this recurring dream means? Or is there anyone with a similar experience? This has really stuck with me the past few days. Thanks. From Routine Space 4878. So basically, in the evening, I took like 30 milligrams of pagoclone. It is related to zopiclone, but doesn't produce sedative effects, and I went to sleep. I have tried DMT and 5-MeO DMT, and this was far more crazy. The dream began as I woke up normally and kind of a shadow girl appeared in my room. She then became normally looking. I kept hearing music and talking with her, checking the phone and so on. Then I decided to go to sleep, and that is when something strange happened. Whenever I closed my eyes, I could create and destroy reality, make whatever happen. Like literally, I was making dimensions like in Doctor Strange and bathing a lot of fun other than that. I could open my eyes whenever and just be with the girl in my room or texting my friends. I called my friend to tell him about what happens when I close my eyes and to record it. I 100% believed this was happening, but I knew that when I close my eyes, it is just a dream. Then, in the real world, me and my dad decided on moving out, so we were arranging all the stuff, looking at the new place. Then my room started shifting to the new room, which we bought in front of my eyes, and I thought I was on acid or something. Meanwhile, whenever I closed my eyes, I could still control reality. It was so weird because I was completely delirious and believed that I am living my normal life, but I knew that when I close my eyes and sleep, I can control reality. I will try to recreate this as this was my best experience ever. It was better than meth, heroin, acid, or anything really. Hopefully you aren't hearing this message because you are asleep, but if you are still awake, I would like to thank you for joining us for tonight's Dreamtime Transmission.